Thank you for joining me for this most important topic. Believe me, it is. We all have dealings with businesses, all right? We work for businesses, most of us. Some of us are self-employed, but most of us are working for businesses and also clients or customers of businesses. So I want to talk about that today. And I've talked about business in the past, and I don't have any expertise in any of this. I mean, most of this is basically my opinion, but I do want to share with you my credentials, or lack thereof, because I've never really gotten into it with you. To begin with, I do have an associate's in arts degree. It's in paralegal studies, and that is really kind of worthless. It's only good pretty much in the legal field. So when I went on to get my bachelor's in science degree, I decided to diversify a bit and get a degree that would work for any business. So I got a business management degree, and I've never really worked in management. It doesn't interest me. But again, I did it because I wanted to be able to offer basically any business an asset. I wanted to be able to bring that to the table. So I've done that, and also went to law school. Did not finish, so I do not have my Juris Doctorate degree, or JD. Don't have that. But I also, I think, have a degree in common sense. And when I went to the University of Phoenix to get my Bachelor's of Science, I did take marketing courses, behavioral science course early on, and that course kind of taught me how to lead people in business and the different approaches. And I've talked about, I've been very pro-business in the past, okay, because I believe that businesses create jobs. There's two ways we get our jobs. It's either from business or from government. And I have said in the past, with government you have job security. Unless you do something horribly wrong, your job is all but guaranteed. In business, things are a lot more volatile, but you have the opportunity to make more money. And I think working in the public sector rather than the private sector government is preferable, because when you work for government, you're basically paying your own job, paying your own income, because, it's your taxes that are returned to you through payroll. Not just you alone, everybody pays taxes, and that's how these government jobs are funded. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. The point is, I want to focus today on our dealings, not as an employee, but as a customer, all right? Because although I am pro-business, I know that there's probably two schools of thought in business, and that is, management and business a lot of times will do what is in the best interest of themselves, and they may be good to their employees. This recording isn't about that. It's how they are with their customers, their clientele. And some of these businesses, not all of them, but some of these businesses are really greedy. If you buy a product and you try to return it, they give you a hard time about it. They don't want to accept it. It's happened to me even at Walmart. Okay, and Walmart has a 90-day return policy with or without receipt. I mean, they're very liberal in their return policy, no hassles. I heard Sears is that way, but I don't know. I don't shop at Sears. Who really does anymore? A lot of these businesses, you can buy with confidence, because if you have a problem, you can return the merchandise. Now, that shouldn't be abused. I don't think people should be buying things with the intentions of returning it. You should buy things with the intention of keeping it, and if you're unhappy with it for any reason, you should be able to return it. Okay? And I can list many examples of things, but I'm not going to do that. You could probably as well. You get it. So a return policy is good. Being treated in a friendly manner goes a long way. And I find that people are having difficulty communicating in public. They're so accustomed to being on their devices and using self-checkouts and kiosks and everything that they can't say the basic hello, have a nice day, thank you, please. If they make eye contact with you at all, is to tell you your total. A lot of people are mumbling what your bill comes to, and a lot of people are not even obligated to talk because I went to a restaurant last weekend, and I knew based on the circumstances what my server was saying to me, but I didn't really hear what he was saying to me. So that's a problem. And I think in business, when you hire the best, you can provide a better service and a better product to the public. And the people that don't do well are not going to get jobs. Now, don't be afraid. If you see yourself as a slacker, you're not a slacker. It's just that you've never had the need to do your best. And doing your best is not going to hurt, okay? I don't like the idea of all of us working and struggling and trying and dealing with office politics and, everything being so cutthroat and you're worried that you're going to lose your job. I'm not for that. But I am for people doing their best, and I believe that everyone's best is usually going to be good enough. And when you're dealing with people that are really good at what you do, that they do, you learn from them and you better yourself. Okay? So, anyhow, the biggest offender, in my opinion, when it comes to not providing good service, is the banks. Now, what a lot of companies are doing, and I think banks have done this all along, what a lot of companies are doing now is they are trying to make you feel good, right? I don't want to feel good, okay? I have my family and friends to make me feel good. I don't need a stranger on the phone telling me I understand your problem. I don't need them to reiterate what I said and take like 2 or 3 minutes to do it. When I call somewhere, it's because I have to. I don't call these people just for the hell of it or to tell them how much I love their product or their service. I'm calling them because I'm having a problem with their product or service. And all that unnecessary chatter, I don't want to hear it. And the 5 minutes it takes to verify an account and having to deal with somebody that doesn't live in this country. Those people that are in India or whatever, they're cheap labor. They're taking jobs away from Americans. I'm not going to take that out on them. I know they need to make a living, and I applaud them for learning the English language and having a pretty good, control over it. But they have an accent that a lot of people are not accustomed to. They could be hard to understand. And when you are already upset and you're dealing with a problem, personally, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear somebody that talks in a manner that I'm accustomed to hearing, where everything sinks in really quick, because there's no accent involved, there's none of that. Accents are fine if you're at a cocktail party and you're just talking to somebody and you're having a few laughs, and it doesn't matter what their accent is. It shouldn't. But in business, it's important that we speak to people that we understand. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject again. This is going in a certain direction. What I want to talk about is the banks. And I have already mentioned that. The banks, okay, they're really good at customer service. But there is one particular bank that I've been having a problem with. And I don't know if I'm going to identify them or not. I think I will, but I might cut it out of the video. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But this bank, okay, I had a car loan with them. Before I personalize it, let me just talk about banks in general. I believe they are the biggest waste of your time and money, okay? The whole lot of them. You know, some are much worse than others. There is one that I think is probably the worst. But let me tell you a little bit about the banks, okay? I don't know about you, but I don't use cash. I seldom use cash, all right? It's, it's just plastic. That's what I use. I use credit card. If I can't use a credit card, I use a debit card. And I like using a credit card because you accumulate points, airline miles, whatever, okay? And if you pay it back in full at the end of the month, you don't have to pay any interest. And don't worry, credit card companies are making money off of you, okay? They charge you interest if you don't pay on time. They also charge a merchant fee. That's why when you go to the gas station sometimes, they will charge you less to pump gas if you use cash, because they don't have to pay those merchant fees. They're cheap asses, if you ask me. But anyway, it should be the same price. But anyway, banks, they take your money and they give you no interest. And if they give you any interest, it's less than 1%. All right. After they take your money, they don't keep it. Okay. They just write a little IOU and they put it in a drawer at their bank. Well, it's in the computer. It's in the computer that you have deposited so much with them. But they take that money and then they loan it to somebody else. And they charge that person interest. And they don't give you that interest. Really, they were able to provide that service because you gave them money to hold for you. And they're not holding it. They're loaning it out. And if that's all they did, that would be fine. Okay? And I am going to recommend one bank. Okay? The virtual banks, not the traditional brick and mortars where there's branches right down the street from you. That's convenient. It is. To deal with a virtual bank is a bit of an inconvenience, but they're the ones that will, give you interest and may not and may not even have any fees. They may not have interest, but they may not have a lot of the fees that the regular banks have, or the fees are kept really low. And they can do that, why? Not only because they don't have the overhead that the traditional banks have by having locations all over the place, but they're making money off of you anyway, based on the way that I just described. They just loan your money out to someone. That's what they do, and they make interest off of that person. And they're not greedy. They leave it at that. They don't try to also then charge you for things. But I had a bank that loaned me money to buy a car. Money they paid to the dealer that I bought the car from was money that was paid to them by someone like me. Okay? And now they're charging me interest for that loan, to repay that loan back, to repay money that they owe somebody else. Okay? They're charging me interest, and I'm making minimum payments. This is what they did to me. I missed a payment. I paid it late. Let's say, for example, the monthly payment is $300. Okay? They charged me a $5 late fee. It wasn't a lot. It was like $6 actually, maybe 10. It was less than 10. But let's say it's $5 just to keep the math simple. The following month, when I paid them $300, because I didn't pay them the late fee, they took $5 from the $300 to pay the late fee from the previous month. Now they have $295 for my current month's payment. So what do? Because they don't have payment in full, they charge me a late fee for that month. And they did it over and over and over again. I paid the car off, and they said, you owe us $300 in late fees. If you don't pay it, we're going to repossess your car. So they extorted money from me. I paid the $300 because I didn't want my car repossessed over $300. All right? And I argued with them. I filed complaints, and they responded very politely. We understand your problem, but this is the way it is. Have a nice day. That was the attitude. Okay, and then I had opened another account with them. This time it was a savings account. This time I was giving them money. Okay, and it was a security deposit for my tenant because I own rental property in South Florida. I deposited the $750 deposit many years ago. I opened the account online, and it was supposed to be like a trust account. It's not supposed to be touched. It's not supposed to be commingled with any funds. What did this bank do? They started charging me a monthly inactivity fee. Okay? And then eventually they closed the account because it was like an inactive account. But they only did that after they had taken like $300 of the $750 I had deposited. All right? And every month they never sent me statements that they were taking these inactivity inactivity charges. They weren't, they weren't making me aware of it. Now, they did contact me when they were going to close the account. Okay, that they did. Now, my money has gone to some third party that wants their cut, and they want like $50 before they release the money to me. All right. Meanwhile, this is money that belongs to my tenant, and when he decides to move out, he's going to want his money back in full. I can say to him, hey, I put it in a bank account as required by the state of Florida, and the bank chose to do this with your money. He's not going to buy that. He's going to say, I gave the money to you, you give me the money back. He's not going to accept me telling him, oh, go get it from the bank. So I'm in a bind. Now they flat out stole money from me. So anyway, I said I had a recommendation. Online banks are much, much better. I'm now with Capital One. I used to have a credit card with them. I hated them. It was awful. But it used to be ING Direct, wonderful company. And Capital One has been pretty good about keeping ING Direct the way it was, even though it's been rebranded and it's now called, well, it's not just been rebranded, it's now owned. It's not even a merger. It's now been bought in, and it's all owned by Capital One 360. But anyway, I don't want to go on and on about this any longer. I'm just telling you, if it were safe to do so, I would say just stick all your money under a mattress. Don't give it to these banks. They're thieves. Okay, they're thieves. Thank you for your time, and we're done.